Good evening and welcome to a little impromptu video. I'm emphasising evening because this is why the light is so shite, and I'm going to do my best to lighten it in the editing process, but the lighting is so crap in this room and it's the evening, so I don't know why I'm doing it now. It's just I don't get time to film anything anymore. There's a lot of mental energy when you're creative and I just don't have that right now. So it's not going to be the most instructive or detailed video, but this is going to be a little haul. Well, this is going to be some of the new ones I've had over the last three months, maybe 2 months. There's two very special ones that I've only just received, and I'm really excited to talk about them and share them with you. So we'll just start at the top in this corner because there's a couple of new ones. Actually, there's 3 new ones in this corner. This is my pink corner, as you can see. So actually, the oldest one, I think that went back into November. I think I got this. This was a blind buy on eBay. And I always wanted to try Drole de Roses from L'Artisan perfume. And obviously it's now discontinued, so it would have been very difficult to have sampled this. And there was a seller on eBay that had this, what was it, partial. It was pretty affordable for what it was, really, considering that it's quite rare to get hold of. And I took a chance and I just fancied that thrill of a blind buy. Like, I still do it all the time. It's crazy. Like, I just get so much pleasure out of it. But Drole de Rose is quite a powdery, slightly vintaged, powdery rose and violet scent. It's very soft, it's very angelic and innocent smelling. Quite pretty as well. I just re-sniffed it because I can't remember how vintagey it smelled. When I first got this, I thought it was lovely and I wasn't sure how vintage this was going to go. Like, was it going to go too, like, musky, because I don't like anything that's too musky. But actually, it doesn't quite go into that direction. It stays pretty soft. And I think it's very pretty. It's still got that vintage vibe, but it's not too sour. He doesn't go into that sort of granny's knicker drawer. I don't have to explain what that means. Some people know what that means. Something you lie in your knicker drawer with that old-fashioned paper, you know, that smells like violets and rose and stuff. Anyway, it doesn't quite go in that territory, but it's actually really lovely, and I'm actually really enjoying that one. So I'm pleased I've got that. But that was back in November. These two I got actually at the same time, and that was quite a coincidence. This one is the brand new launch, actually, from Jo Malone, and this one is a discontinued limited edition I got on eBay, and they just happened to come up on my radar at the same time, and I purchased them around the same time and they arrived the same day, which was quite a coincidence. But starting with this one's called Rose Water and Vanilla, and it was part of, I think it was part of a set of other rose style fragrances. They all came out at the same time and they were all limited. I think it has a note of locum, isn't that right? Turkish delight, I actually can't remember, but I know it's meant to be based around the scent of Turkish delight, which is always going to be a win for me. Like, that's a note that I really enjoy. I heard that it smells quite neroli heavy, and I'm really not a big fan of neroli, but I still went for it and I still blind bought this, and I actually really enjoy it, even though it does have quite a neroli orange blossom way, and actually it's more like orange blossom and neroli than it is rose water and vanilla. So I don't quite understand the branding on this one, but it's really pretty, and it's kind of a soft neroli. So people have voted this being very similar to things like Love Don't Be Shy, and what was the one from Memo called Sintra. I get it, but it's not really. It's kind of in between something like Sintra and then Rosewater. You've got there's something in between that. So it's like having a pretty pink neroli orange blossom, or a rose water that smells slightly herbal with neroli. Like, it's in between the two, and I think it is really pretty and actually really nice. So I am very happy with that little blind buy from eBay. So that is rose water and vanilla. And this very eye-catching purple new perfume from Jo Malone is Taif Rose. The bottle obviously caught my eye. If you see any branding on this, the bottle is beautiful, and obviously with the roses, the rose focus in this, it was hard to resist. It is lovely. It's very Moorish kind of a rose scent. It is very Turkish delight. Actually, well, no, it's very jammy, I should say. It's not so much like a candied, powdery Turkish delight. It's more, if you ever smell Roses Vanille from Mancera, if you take away that weird Mancera DNA, which smells like stale tobacco or stale beer, do you know what I mean? Just keep the rose, that jammy rose quality from it. It kind of smells like this. Yeah, it's a really jammy, sweet, dark pink rose. Let's just give it another sniff, actually. Because I think there's black currant in here. And there is something, but yeah, I mean, it's fruity. It's got a really lovely, almost slightly tart fruitiness, which I think is what makes it smell even more delicious, because sometimes you have to have a bit of tartness to offset the sweetness. I think that's why it works so well. And I think the black currant makes it seem dark, like a dark, sweet, jammy fruit. And it makes me think of a dark pink, like a real, not purple, but dark pink kind of a smell. It has a lovely sillage on it, actually. It's not like overpowering, but it has a really nice performance. The two successful Jo Malone perfume, which is a surprise really, because every Jo Malone I've ever bought, I've ended up decluttering. One way or another, something hasn't worked out for me. But these two I am extremely happy with. So yeah, coming down to the second shelf on the right, there are actually two new ones lurking within this lot. And I've done a lot of decluttering recently as well. I mean, I'm always doing that. So things always look a little different each time. And let's go over to here. So I actually ended up with a new Atelier de Roses fragrance. And I can't even remember when I bought this. The reason I bought Rouge Soiree, I think off of the success of this purchase that I made from Atelier de Roses, which is called Coco Kimura. That was their newer launch this year. Again, on eBay, I always try and find a partial, or just at least a more affordable way to afford a perfume, and generally it's going to be eBay and secondhand perfumes. And I wanted another one, and I've always wondered about this one. I'd never tried it. Luckily, this has been a successful blind buy. I'm really enjoying this one. I wore it a lot around Christmas time. Rouge Soiree is a really deep, warm, ambery, delicious, golden, beautiful fragrance. There are dates, I believe. It's quite a date-scented scent. Very, like, ambery to me. They're, like, very balsamic, rich and deep. It reminds me a lot of Kisses Rain from Renier, which I've actually got down here. That's this one. It really does remind me a lot of it, but where that one is more almond, like a more slightly powdered almond vibe, this one has a more dense sort of sticky date kind of a vibe. So it's not like powdery. This one is more resinous, I suppose. There's a real golden rich feel to it. Just giving it another sniff. I see a cheeky little face down there. I don't trust him. He does naughty things on carpets. So a date is quite a dry, dark smelling fruit, isn't it? It's obviously a dehydrated sort of a fruit, and you get that in here, like a dry sort of stone fruit that's dark. Well, it's a date basically, but if you coated it in a very resinous amber and also like a balsamic glaze as well, and then painted it gold or something, it kind of smells like that, and it's beautiful. It's so cozy and decadent and warm. That is Rouge Soiree, and I'm very happy with that one. Another more recent purchase on this shelf is Xerjoff, and that is this one here. This one is called Via Cavour 1. I was confused about this one because it seemed like people were suddenly talking about it online, but it had been released quite a little while ago. I think it was because it had been released exclusively to one country or one region or something like that, so it wasn't easy to get hold of. But now it can get hold of it and it is available. And what led me to this one was the fact that I'm on a bit of a rose and chocolate fruity kick at the moment. At first when I tried this I wasn't sure, because there's quite a dominant patchouli note in here, and it's not the smoothest patchouli. It doesn't smell bad, it's just there's a slight bitter, dry, slightly scratchy patchouli, and it reminds me, I once had a fragrance called Darcy from Parfums de Marly, and I ended up not liking it because of the patchouli, and it kind of reminds me of that a tiny bit, only this is so much smoother and so much more appealing. And what won me over with this in the end, I did sample this first, this wasn't a blind buy. What won me over was the way it dries down. It's a beautifully balanced, whatever the fruits are, it's probably raspberry, because I'm getting something that I know I love in here. It could be raspberry or strawberry, I don't know. But it's such a beautifully rounded and made fruit composition. It's a patchouli. It's a patchouli at the end of the day, but it's a beautiful one. I think it's one of the best patchoulis I've smelt, and I think you've got to like patchouli to really enjoy this one. And I love the wear of it. I get little wafts of sweet fruits. It's so balanced and it's so appealing. And it's a really beautiful everyday scent. It was a brand new bottle. This wasn't a partial or anything. So you can see that I have really, blasted through that first bit. I bought this, I think it was this month, beginning or either the end of December or beginning of this month. I can't remember. But I have been wearing a heck out of that one. So that's very successful. And yeah. Staying on the chocolate train, I managed to find a seller on eBay selling a partial bottle of Gourmande Coquin from Guerlain. Now, obviously, this is a very sought after perfume. I had a B bottle of Fève Gourmande, which is supposedly the replacement of this particular one. And something always bugged me about Fève Gourmande, even though I spent a lot of money on it. There was something that just wasn't working. I found it incredibly boring, but it was so lactonic to me. It was too creamy and it was too mild in what's supposed to be quite a nice chocolate rose scent. And I ended up selling it actually in the end. It's undeniable that Gourmande Coquin has a huge factor that Fève Gourmande doesn't. And that is this rich, syrupy concentration of rose syrup. And it's the chocolatiness and the booze behind it. Fève Gourmande seems to be lacking this depth and this, je ne sais quoi, I don't know. It's too mild and it's too pale. This one has such a beautiful quality, this boozy quality. And is it raspberry in here? I don't know, whatever it is, it brings a sort of more fruity rose quality. It lingers for longer with the booze, you know. It's really a beautiful liquor, this scent. And it's older, so maybe it's more matured, I don't know, but it's beautiful. This is 100 times better than Fève Gourmande, and I'm far more happy having this in my collection than the other one. So I'm very, very pleased with that purchase. Two in the front here that I am going to land on at the end, because the reason I've switched my camera on because I'm so excited about them. I'm going to come back to that. Another new one that came into my collection this month, or was it December? My memory is terrible. It's just too much happening at the moment. It's this one from Chloe. I actually heard Chris from the Perfume Nest talking about this one recently, and I love the way she described it. And I am definitely on a vanilla kick as well at the moment. I love anything vanilla-y, which I never used to. I liked how it sounded airy and fresh, and it just sounded appealing. And when I started to research this one, a lot of people were saying there's a beautiful sort of Play-Doh effect that it has. It sort of turns into this strange Play-Doh vanilla, and that can sound weird, but I love the smell of Play-Doh. I've always wanted something that was a bit Play-Doh-y. So I blind bought this one. This was a partial on eBay, actually. It's kind of hard to describe this one. It's a fresh vanilla. It's not edible. It's not gourmand in the slightest. The vanilla brings a smoothness to the texture, I think. There's a green feeling in the beginning, a sort of a fresh green. The way it dries down, you do kind of get this strange Play-Doh scent. I think it's quite a salty scent as well. It's quite a salty vanilla on me. It's so unusual, this. I find it unusual in a very pleasant way. It's nicely done. And I've started exercising more. I've started going to an aerobics class. Works for this aerobics class, and it just is beautiful for that. It's sort of fresh, salty vanilla for spring and summer as well. So that is, I don't even say what it's called, is it? Vanilla Planifolia. So that was another addition to my collection. The new addition lurking on this shelf is one from BDK, actually, and it's Tobac Rose, sorry. I don't want to go into a long story here, but I don't remember bidding on this. It's really bizarre. This was something I was thinking about. I had a sample and I kept going back and forth to it, and I really enjoyed it, but I wasn't sure. And I was watching this on eBay, and I'd seen that there was one bid on it. And I thought, well, I'll just watch and see how it goes. Like, I want to see the price go up, and and then make a decision at the end. And the morning that it ended, I woke up and saw that I'd got a notification saying, "Congratulations, you've won Tobac Rose." And I was so confused. And I thought, I just don't remember bidding on this thing. But nobody else did. So the bid was in fact mine. And I don't know, I'm going through some sort of Twilight Zone thing. I don't know what's happened. So, I don't know, Sleepwalking Liz or some version of me that bid on this did me a solid, because I'm actually really happy about it. It's a weird one. I remember sampling this years ago and not being sure about it because I wasn't sure about the tobacco content in this. I find that BDKs are they are quite synthetic, aren't they? And there is an ambroxan lurking in the background of this one. The tobacco is quite a sort of dirty, musty tobacco. But for whatever reason, I'm getting more of the rose. Compared to smelling it years ago, I'm more aware of the rose in this. And it's a really lovely rose. A lovely sweet rose in here. But it is fighting for position with the tobacco. I don't know if I'd enjoy this in the spring or summer because, well, not necessarily spring, but when it's warmer. I think the tobacco would be too dominant. I feel like I'll get too much tobacco. I think the sun or the heat will push that further forward. But in the cold, like now in winter, it's actually working really well. So I'm pleased it worked out in the end with that one. Anyway, let's just come back over to this part of the shelf because this is where I've been anticipating talking about. So as you can see, they're two very fancy fragrances from Guerlain. Maybe I should just call them investments because that's probably what they need to be at this point. And these are a huge financial dent, let's be honest, but I'm over the moon with them and they're making me happy. And actually Sam from My World of Fragrance said something fantastic on a video recently. She said some people spend money on therapy, she spends hers on perfume, and it does the same thing. So I'm going to agree with that. That's my justification. This is therapy, okay? This is money well spent. I'm going to start with this one here. Now this is incredibly special. It's one of the new extracts from Guerlain. This is the Vanilla Planifolia, Extrait 21. I've only smelt one other from this line, which is actually the Tonka. And I really thought the Tonka was going to be the one that I fell in love with, but I didn't. I don't think I even liked it. It was smelled very much like Tonka Shalimar. That Shalimar vibe just doesn't agree with me. Like I say, I've been on a vanilla kick, and I got myself, managed to get myself a sample on eBay, and I blasted through that sample. And at first I just thought, it's just a vanilla. I don't understand why it's so expensive. It's just this, I mean, it's a nice vanilla. I feel like where you can get resinous vanillas and you can get powdery vanillas and you can get, I don't know, different textures of vanilla. I feel like this encompasses quite a few different facets of vanilla. It's a good representation of vanilla without actually being a vanilla extract. It's not vanilla extracts at all, not to me. It's in the wear that I fell in love with this. It's the way it wears. It's the way it billows all through the day. But it might also be because I've attached this scent to something sentimental that I justified it in that way as well. I lost my pet bunny recently. I know he's just a pet bunny, but he was my world. And I love my animals. And it really, tore me up. And I was sampling this at the time. I had little wafts of this around the time that I lost him. And it was the comfort. And I don't know, it was a comfort scent for me. And in the end, I thought, I just want this scent. It reminds me of when I was stroking him and cuddling him. So I had it designed. I made a decision and I thought, I'm going for it. I had it designed with this beautiful gold cord. I had the black marble because he was a black bunny. And I don't know, it just worked for me. That's what I wanted to remind me of him. But I also had his name etched on the back, which is, it was Morton, but also Mort. And so, yeah, it's a sentimental purchase, obviously functional as well. It is a perfume at the end of the day. And it's beautiful. It's a very special vanilla for me. There's a whole saga and story attached to this perfume. I don't want this to be a long video about anything than just the joy of a haul. But DPD, there was a problem with DPD delivering this. It went missing. This, of all the perfumes, all the parcels to go missing, this went missing. And it was a nightmare, but I was straight on it. I had the police involved, I had the company involved, and things were turned around pretty quick. That's all I'll say. And I may have another one lurking down the bottom, which I think I've got to send back to Guerlain. I'm not sure yet, but then I ended up getting two because of, them replacing it and DPD's one going missing. DPD one arrived in the end, but I don't know yet what's happening. I'm not sure if I've got you know what I mean? It's sealed, it's at the bottom. It doesn't belong to me at this point in time. So I'm not going to think about it. I just know I've got my bottle here and I'm over the moon with it. So that is incredibly special. So that is one Guerlain. And then leading on to the right, I have a second, which I had no intention to get because this was going to mark my no-buy for the rest of the year. I really want to slow down. I've had a crazy whirlwind in 4 or 5 years of this incredible perfume journey and purchase craziness, and I wanted to stop. But when I bought my Vanilla Planifolia, they sent me a sample of the new Peche Mirage. And I've never felt so hard for a perfume so fast. It's Peche Mirage. Now, it didn't come with this great big bow stuck around it. That was me. Obviously you can customize your own bottles, and I designed mine with a grey cord and I don't like it. It's all right. It doesn't matter. The point is that this peach fragrance is absolutely breathtaking. It is stunning. I couldn't resist it. Like I say, this is actually a new release. I hadn't even heard about this. I had no idea there had been a new release that was called Peche Mirage. But they sent me a sample and I thought, okay, I'm not a big peach fan. If I'm honest, I generally tend to declutter things that have a dominant peach in them. This one, although it could remind me, say, slightly of Dancing Blossom from Louis Vuitton. And it also could slightly remind me of Elixir from Roger Dove, slightly, because there's a floral peach mix happening. However, what I get from this is a lot of osmanthus, and osmanthus is fluffy and it's soft and it's more apricotty, And I think the peach and the osmanthus blend, and they make the most beautiful, beautiful scent. I think there's leather in here. You do get a hint of that in the background, but it's so soft. It's so airy and angelic. And even though this is not a gourmand in any way, there is something so succulent about the peach stroke apricot osmanthus. Something so perfect about it. There's something pink and fluffy and florally as well. The peachiness sort of smells kind of juicy and kind of fruity in the heart. Like there's definitely a concentrated focal point, but it's completely coated in fluffy osmanthus, which kind of makes it feel so blended and so wearable and so appealing and Moorish. Yeah, I'm just completely obsessed with this scent right now. I'm really happy with this. I got it etched with Only Forever. I don't know if anyone out there is a fan of the film Labyrinth. You might get the link here, being that it's a peachy scent. There's a scene in the film, and I love that film, it's from my era. And there's a scene in Labyrinth where Xerjoff gives a peach to Hoggle, and Hoggle gives this peach to Sarah, and it's poisoned. But it sends her into this sort of deep sleep, this hypnotized state where he hopes she's going to stay. It's just a really beautiful part of the story. One of the songs in the film, I think it's called Underground, it has a line, Only Forever. I just thought it sounded really pretty, and it reminds me of the film, and the fact that it's peach, it all just comes together really. So that is my most recent purchase. That is my very bougie peach Mirage. This does mark the start of what I hope is a long no buy, because I've got to put the brakes on now and I have to start enjoying my collection. So that is the end of my haul, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if any of you have tried any of the things that I've shown you in the video today. The new Taif Rose from Malone, the new ones from Guerlain, any of them. Sorry again about this horrendous lighting, and hope to see you all soon. Take care. Over and out.